The Broncos are getting set to host the Arizona Cardinals, and after pulling off nearly a miracle against the Chiefs, the Broncos still in search for their fourth win of the season. We're getting you ready for kickoff. Hello, welcome into the studio. Alongside Eric Dalala and Sidney Jones, I am Phil Milani. Guys, last week against the Chiefs, the best offensive performance of the season. It was an exciting game. It was going back and forth there in the second half. Sidney, can they continue that this week?
Yeah, I really hope so, Phil. I think we'll see a little bit more of that this week. You know, like you mentioned, it was arguably the most exciting game I think we've had all season. Definitely the best game for the offense so far this season. They put up 28 points, the most in a game that they've had this year. And, you know, they were able to really find a spark and rhythm on offense. And I think a big reason for that was Jerry Jeudy. I mean, he had a 3-touchdown game, his first career 3-touchdown game. And if you look at the year heading into Sunday's game, Jerry only had 3 touchdowns on the season and then goes and has a big game like that. He really stepped up. And, you know, I thought it was interesting. We kind of saw Jerry in Cortland's position a little bit. You know, he was also in his role in the slot too. So I think he really embraced that. Coach Hackett said he was really excited about it and really took advantage of it.
Yeah, they moved him over to that X spot and then started getting him some targets. And that was what he was able to do. But obviously, his success this week depends on the quarterback play. Eric, what's going on at quarterback?
Yeah, Phil, it doesn't sound like Russell Wilson's going to go this week. Brett Rypien will be the starter. And listen, Russell Wilson made some progress through the concussion protocol, but it seems like the Broncos are just being smart there. I think that's the wise move long term. Obviously, the playoffs are kind of out of the picture here, so be smart. Let him heal up completely. And Brett Rypien now will get a chance to make his second start of the season. He did some good things against the Jets earlier in the year, but just needs to be a little bit more consistent, get the ball out on time, make quick decisions, let your playmakers like Jerry Jeudy, like Sidney mentioned, do what they do. Again, he did some good things in that 1st and goal scenario against the Chiefs, but when the field's longer, you've got to avoid turnovers. You got to be able to pick up these first downs. It'll be a big challenge for Brett Rypien, but I do think that he's capable of helping the Broncos get a win.
Yeah, that was a tough spot to just come in there, all this energy in the stadium, and then he comes in cold, has to try and pull off a miracle there. And had the touchdown, but also had the interception. So we'll see what he can do this Sunday with the Cardinals coming to town. Here's what Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett had to say on Friday.
Russell Wilson has passed the concussion protocol. With that being said, as an organization, we've decided to give him another week to get ready, and he's ready to go for the Los Angeles Rams. Russ is one of our ultimate competitors in this game. He's unbelievable. We informed him of the decision. He's not happy with it. He wants to be out there and play. He's very, very competitive, as we all know, and wants to compete for this team and be out there. And we as an organization, after discussing and talking throughout this entire week, have decided it's best for our organization. It's best for Russell. And we talked about this from top all the way to the bottom. So we looked at every single thing and just want to give him another week to get ready. We're very confident in Rip, very excited about Rip and this opportunity to go against the Arizona Cardinals.
Let's move to the defensive side of the ball. And the Broncos got some good news this week as Randy Gregory returned to the practice field. He's only played in 4 games this season, but certainly has made an impact in those games. Sidney, what would it mean for Randy Gregory to join back up with this Broncos defense?
Yeah, Phil. Well, I think, you know, to put it simply, this defense is better when Randy Gregory's on the field. I really liked what Justin Simmons said this week when he did press. Randy, he's a game wrecker. You know, pass game, run game, he makes an impact. You know, we talked to Randy Gregory in the locker room earlier this week, and I think he's just excited to be back on the football field. I don't think he envisioned that it would take this long to get back. So I think it's important for him to, you know, finish this year healthy and on the field so that he can go into this offseason just with a good mindset.
Yeah, I guess that sort of is what the Broncos have to balance here is that it's important for Gregory to be healthy going into the offseason, but it's also important that he gets back out onto the field and has some momentum and feels confident in his knee there. Eric, what do you think about him possibly being back out on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think if he does come back, you've got to be careful with how many snaps he plays. He mentioned that in the conversation Sidney's talking about, that he's probably not going to come back and play a full set of snaps here I would just be cautious with him and work him back in there. But I do think, and defensive coordinator Giro Evero sort of agreed with this on Thursday, he helps you get a more honest evaluation of the rest of your pass rushers. So the Broncos go into this offseason, they're going to have to decide who starts opposite Randy Gregory. Is it Baron Browning? Is it Nick Bonito? Is it somebody else? When you have him here over these last few games, it can really help you see, okay, well, how does Baron Browning handle being the number 2 outside linebacker? Or how does Nick Bonito handle if he's the 3rd guy in? It doesn't let them target Baron Browning the same way as a number 1 pass rusher. And so I think you're getting a more fair sense of what this room could look like moving forward.
Randy Gregory certainly made an impact in those games he played. A couple sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and here's what he had to say about getting back out on the field.
I've missed a lot of time. I'm to the point now where I want to help where I can. I understand the landscape, the situation we're in as a unit, but I think it's important, like I said, to go out there and kind of end the season on a good note. I've been hurt most of the year, so be able to go out there and play and kind of end the year healthy and in the right mindset, I think it'd be important for me and for everyone.
So that's up front. What about back in the secondary here? Pat Surtain II, it seems like every single week this year, he's got another big test. And this week, it's DeAndre Hopkins coming to town. Sydney, what are you looking forward to from that matchup?
Yeah, Phil, I think that's probably going to be the most intriguing matchup, this weekend. And, since DeAndre Hopkins has been back from his, 6-game suspension that he dealt with earlier in the season, he's been pretty dominant. I think he leads the NFL with 56 receptions since week 7, that week he returned. And, DeAndre Hopkins is a guy that you need to know where he's at on the field no matter what. And, I think it'll be a really good matchup because, as we know, Pat Surtain, he's having a really good season and, is arguably one of the best cornerbacks in the league in just his 2nd year. So it'll be interesting to see them match up and, battle throughout the game.
Surtain had been getting picked on a little bit there a couple of games, but then last week he got his first interception, got on the board, and now he's got a 3-time All-Pro coming to town. Eric, what have you seen from Surtain, especially the last week?
Yeah, he bounced back nicely. Obviously, it struggled a little bit there. He's a guy whose confidence is not going to waver. He's going to stick with it. He's such a good player and has another challenge here, and maybe he rides some of that momentum from last week into this game. We know the Cardinals are going to try to force feed DeAndre Hopkins the ball. Colt McCoy at quarterback, he's going to look to Hopkins as maybe a little bit of a safety net there. So Surtain should see some action. Physical receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, but Surtain, obviously, he's got the size, he's got the technique to match up with that. So I think he'll be able to hold his own, and it won't be easy. As we heard Bill Belichick say, it was a little Hard Knocks teaser there. He said, you've only played half the season, you're still going to lead the league in receiving.
Yeah, he made one play last week in the back of the end zone. He was out of bounds, but he brought the ball in, and it was one heck of a play. Here's what Surtain had to say about the matchup.
He has the ability to make every catch on the field, obviously, but I just believe that when he's not open, he's open at the same time. So he gives his quarterback a chance when the ball's in the air. So obviously he's a great playmaker as well, too.
Time to wrap up now with some final thoughts. Sydney, let's start with you.
Phil, I think final thought is offensive line really needs to step up this next week. I know they've been pretty banged up this season and have really struggled to find some continuity. But, before Russell left the game this past Sunday, he'd been sacked 6 times. So they really need to protect the quarterback this weekend.
Yeah, especially that left guard position. That was a revolving door against the Chiefs. I have to see what the Broncos end up settling on there. Of course, Netani Muti now in Las Vegas. So we'll have to see how they handle that spot. Erica, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit kind of big picture, but I've been impressed with the effort the Broncos have still been playing with. It'd be really easy right now to phone it in, to say, hey, we're done with the playoffs. We're just going to kind of put it on cruise control and get to the end of the year. The fact that they fought back from a 27-0 deficit and nearly pulled it off against the Chiefs shows me that this team is still playing hard. They're playing for Nathaniel Hackett. They're trying to get these wins. That's not the case, I don't think, across the league when you look at some of these teams that have been eliminated from playoff contention. So that gives me some faith, some hope going into this weekend, and I think it bodes well for the Broncos' chances against Arizona.
Yeah, most definitely. I got to continue to play hard here during the final 4 games of the season. I'm going to say I'm interested in seeing how the Broncos offense, if they're able to continue this momentum this week, especially with Vance Joseph coming back to town. The Cardinals defensive coordinator obviously spent 2 seasons here as the head coach. How do the Broncos handle the success they had last week? That's going to do it for us. For Eric DeLaw and Sidney Jones, I am Phil Milani. This has been Ready for Kickoff.